Throughout our history, explorers have navigated the vast seas, climbed to the highest peaks, and have crossed endless dunes of sand. That drive of discovery and adventure, that thrill of reaching for new heights, has made rock climbing into what it is today. My name is Gabriel Gutierrez, and I have been an amateur rock climber for around 5 years now. And I believe it is important to know the history and where this sport of rock climbing came from for us amateurs that are increasing in popularity. Now, today I will be going over the history of rock climbing, the importance of its equipment, and some of the different forms of rock climbing we have today. Now, before the 19th century, there was not much research done on the climbing, really only left to a few adventurers and academic geographers. However, according to Dr. Seinfeld's book, The Science of Climbing and Mountaineering, written in 2016, the mountaineers of Europe began to see a need to organize into these clubs, such as the Alpine Club, created in 1857, and this was in London. These clubs allowed exchanges of information, and because new routes up mountains and climbing techniques was still being discovered. These clubs started to spread all across the world, and including an American Alpine Club in 1907. As more clubs became more popular, competition also increased. Clubs would plant their flag and get the name for the first people to reach the top of the mountains. So mountains all over the world were starting to be explored. And this idea of clubs and mountaineers gathering together was the first step to standard use of equipment that we have today. The carabiners and nylon ropes were huge advancements in the safety of rock climbing. For the carabiners, according to Mrs. Bright, in her book, A History of Rock Climbing Gear and Technology, and written in 2014, she goes into how the carabiners were actually connectors used in the 1900s for soldiers and for their gun straps. Rock climbers used this technology, and that was really the first step to a standard piece of equipment. And as time went on, we now have many different types of carabiners used for different sorts of climbing. However, all must pass strict certification standards. And now, that carabiner is always paired with the nylon rope. The nylon rope, before the nylon rope actually, the average top climber would very rarely live past 30. And so when these nylon ropes, which were lighter, stronger, and more durable than their previous organic ropes, the safety was just blown out of proportion. Popularity increased because less people were dying, and they really took surge in America in the 1940s when the nylon rope could be used commercially. Now that the history and gear is explained, I want to go into some of the different forms of rock climbing we have today. Now, while there are so many forms, I could barely list them all. I will be going over the traditional, bouldering, and sport. Traditional climbing is most often paired with mountaineering, and it is where, when you would go up a mountain, you have to place in spikes to secure your rope. You would go up and then you would go back down and you would remove the spikes as you go away. Now if you compare that to sport rock climbing, those anchors are already fixed, and you would use your athleticism, endurance, and gymnastic-like ability to scale up a wall as quickly as possible. Traditional with the mindset of critical thinking compared to the athleticism of sport climbing. Now, bouldering is a form of climbing without ropes, very low to the ground and with crash pads as protection. With this, athletes could practice new and difficult techniques, and it's also a place for amateurs to try out climbing in a freeing environment without the mess of harnesses and ropes. In conclusion, rock climbing has come a long ways from mountaineering days. With improved safety and the popularity of rock climbing exploded, and which allowed for several different forms to emerge. And again, I just want to state the importance that as it's growing in popularity, it's important for us to understand where it came from. And thank you very much for your time today, and I hope you too can reach new peaks. Thank you very much.